Good. So many company follow the 2 weeks sprint. Many company follow 1 week sprint. You can say we follow the 2 weeks sprint. Good. So now how many hours you have then? 30. There is some math here. 80 hours. 2 weeks, you have 5 days, 80 hours. Yes, if you work extra, you can get extra. When the deployment time, you can work extra hours as well. But the typical is 80 hours. But now you say, well, I have the 80 hours. That's called the estimation. Means how many in this sprint, how many days you will be working? 10 days. Are you going to take any day off? No. Unless you're sick, that's a different thing. So in the planning meeting, estimation will be based on your 80 hours. But is it possible to work 80 hours? It is not, because you have to go through the multiple sets of meeting. Yeah. So we do not. We normally work. So you can say we normally work 70 hours, because you cannot execute the work in the very last step. The first of all, you have to understand that work. You need to meet with the team. You have to all this meeting. With many companies, they just say 10 hours is for the meeting, and the 5 hours, whatever. So your 2 weeks sprint, 70 hours will be your estimation.
So the other 10 hours from meeting and all that.
Yeah, yeah, good. So if you say 10 hours, it will take how many hours remaining? 60 hours. So you can still take the 6 more, use the story.
So can we get a break from those 80 hours?
Break means what?
For break. If we work like 8 hours.
Oh, no, you come to the work 8 to 5. That's your 8 to
Working
5.
like, he's saying like working 7 days a week, right?
No.
7 days, 80 hours. That's what he's saying.
No, I'm trying to say like, if we work on like 5 days in a week, then can we get break from those 8 hours?
That's the best like
Like 1 hour break should be.
Yeah, now.
Okay, I think I understand. If we say the 4 hours, it does not mean today 4 hours has to be done. It has to be done within these 4 hours. Make sense? It's an example. So good question. So sign up. So you wrote the 10 test cases. It took 1 hour. You wrote the test case steps. Took 2 hours. 3 hours is gone. 1 hour you have the execution. 4 hours done. So today you have done something. The day after tomorrow you have done something on the same user story. And the last day you actually executed. 4 hours done. And you said, no, 4 hours is not enough really. I need actually more hours. So now in the retro, gosh, I should have done actually better estimation. Makes sense? It's not 4 hours. I should have actually said 6 hours, because not only the test cases, you need to prepare the test data. The test data means the Gmail ID you need to create. If you work in the vehicle industry, you need the VIN number. If you work in the mobile industry, you need the SIM card or the IMEI. If you work on this, you need the model number. If you work on this, you need the model number. That's called the test data. Make sense? The test data is important. The test data is different based on the what? Based on the project or the application you're working. So test data preparation takes time as well. So now the question, who you work with to prepare the test data? Multiple people. So first of all, who knows everything now at this moment? Developer. Because he wrote the code. Developer wrote the code. He has to test it as well. So developer knows.
So developer give us an instruction for one.
You kind of know, yeah, and you're right. So what developer does, let's go back that route, hold the question. So the test data is part of your test case development, right? Test case preparation. So now you need to, after understanding test case preparation, positive, negative, we identified test data preparation for each of the scenario. So both and the test execution. 3 things you have to consider before you estimate something. Good. And then bug comes later. Expectation bug will not be part of the deal now. Okay. So now the developer complete the development, and the developer actually prepare a technical review meeting with you. Okay. Hey, this requirements work. you need this test data. You need the model year 25, and this is the VIN number. You need this, then you can test it. So he will tell you everything. You write it down. You join this technical review meeting, then you get the full picture how you can execute your test cases. Good. But now let's go back a little bit down. When you wrote the test cases, you have the internal testing team. They have a life cycle here to review your test cases. Two ways you do this. Because the product owner has written the acceptance criteria, actually he can review test cases. A good product owner can review test cases because he's the one who wrote the acceptance criteria. At least he want to ensure that you have done the acceptance criteria amount of the test cases. So you wrote only one test cases. There is 8 acceptance criteria. You say, no, it's not acceptable. You have to expand. You see this? So you need to get the feedback from him. And the another is the senior engineer from your team. Or in your QA team, there is a best practice that we have to do the test case review. Based on what? Based on some of the formatting you have to follow, some of the standard you have to follow. But after these 2 things is done, everybody go back to the acceptance criteria. Let's go back to the requirements and let's see how many acceptance criteria there, how many test cases you have written. And then again, you can get the feedback from there. See this? So some is format and the best practice, then everybody will go back there. Regardless where you work, because test case ensure that testing is done properly. If not enough test cases, then enough scenario is not covered. Good? Any question about the estimation? So in the sprint planning meeting, we read, ask the question to clarify, and then everyone provide their estimation and combine a number. If the team has decided only one word need to be changed, 1 day effort. Effort is 1 day. Developer change, I just verified it, 1 day effort. It's a point system. Good. If the developer take 5 hours, you need the 6 hours, right? 11 hours. Actually, the 2 days effort now. So point system is like this: 1, 2, 3, 5. Make sense? It's called the Fibonacci. Anyway, the story point. Now the question is, if you give the unreasonable expectation, you say sign up will take 6 days to test. Oh, that's too much. So people will actually ask the question. No, you can say it, but nobody will insult you. People will say, well, explain me why you said the 6 days. You can say, well, I thought I need to do so much testing, this and that. You can say, nothing is wrong. Then your senior engineer or the product owner will say, it seems like you can execute the 12 test cases, maybe 15 test cases. It should not take 6 days. 1 day or 2 days is fine. I will help you. The senior engineer will say, you can say, I don't know how to test it. I'm new. I need to prepare test data on all of this. The senior engineer will say, I will help you. I will tell you how to do this. Make sense? So that's actually, you cannot just estimate something. If it is unreasonable, somebody will pause you there. Somebody will ask you, why did you say that? So that's it's all part of the planning meeting discussion. Good. So we do the planning meeting. We do the straightforward estimation. We also get pushback. No, you cannot do this. Or also, we do not do the planning at all. If the user story, developer is not able to develop, thus we need to stop this, because you need to complete the user story that can be developed, that can be testable. Make sense? The user story has to be that clean. Who is the responsible? Business analyst or the product owner. And that's their job behind the scene. That's what they do behind the scene throughout the day. We call the grooming. We call the grooming. Continue work with the business, write the user story, make sure it is testable, make sure it has a good the acceptance criteria. And as everybody working on the same project, in some point, everybody has some idea how to estimate the user story. Right? Because you're working, you gain the experience. So now you can estimate professionally and efficiently. In the beginning, you don't know anything, right? But as you continue work, that's how you gain your experience. And you actually better at what you do. Okay, let's go see this. How should you assign estimation point? Look at this. Complexity, risk, implementation strategy, deployment, dependency. We talk about the dependency, right? Sign in, you need the sign up dependency. Complexity, of course, you can talk about the own complexity. Complexity is depend on the application. Risk, if you do not do the sign up, sign in, user cannot buy anything, right? So risk. So looking at the, it's not the vanilla like, oh, everything is high or everything is low. Again, based on your understanding of the specific requirement, you can say how priorities it is. Regardless where, what do you do? The process, thought process goes the same way. Make sense? That it is not changing. It is not like the night and day difference. It's same. Good. And let's go see the what is a test case. I think we discussed about this test case. Test case is writing step by step to test a user functionality, right? Or device functionality, or an app functionality. It's called the test case. See, it's not changing. Game is not changing regardless of what you do. Either vehicle, non-vehicle, anything. So now, what if there should be in the test case? Identifier, test case title, precondition now, right? You see this? For the sign up, you need the test data, right? That's the precondition. Auto development need to be done. You need to have the browser. Otherwise, how will browse the website, right? And then steps. You need to open the browser. You need to type the URL. You need to write the steps. So we'll go about this, but that's actually the writing the test case. We'll go and we have the template. But the question is, this part is super important. This part is important. The moment you know how to write the test cases, you can actually do the automation as well. So test case has a relationship with the automation, test automation, because test case is where you actually go details. When you click it, what do you expect, what actually happened? When you type the email ID, what do you expect, what actually happened? When you sign up, what actually happened, what do you expect, what actually happened? This is the three things are in the any test case is mandatory. Any, you do test this or test that or mobile or the website. Based on the requirements, when I type the email ID and password, when I click sign in, if it is valid, it should take me to the mobile app, or it should take me to the website, or it should take me to my vehicle. Make sense? The process is the same, but expected and actual are the main key point in the testing. Who give it the expected? It kind of your acceptance criteria. The actual, what is the actual? After you actually hit the button, then the whatever you see, that's the actual. You see this? We call the system under testing. Of course, I'm typing everything else. If I do not click the button, what I'm expecting, right? So after you do the action, what do you see? That's called the actual result. These things are the same regardless. Again, I'm mentioning the same word over and over. These things are the same regardless where you work. What you test. Expected is what you are inputting, and then actual is after you do the input, after you do the action, what do you see? So test case have to be like this. And that's actually the test case template will be providing you. So you will know nothing is changed. We're not changing the game. And this kind of template can be different each company. Automotive can be different. Amazon can be different. Google can be different. You can use in the Excel or you can use the test case tools. Test case has a tools as well. Okay? Same, but everything has a relationship. So there is some test case story. Of course, you are driving a test case based on the user story, right? The sign up. Test case description. Remember, as a user, I want to sign up with the username, password, and the Gmail ID. That's the title. Good. So that's the reason we say, working in the industry, you need to know the good English. It is not the scientific English or not that you have to be PhD in English, but you need to be able to write English so that it can be understood by other people. So writing English is important. Good. You can improve the English multiple ways. Continue chat. Okay. Use the Grammarly plugin. Then you see the things gets better every day. You do not need to.
Basically, you have to use the appropriate language.
Yes, like as, given, when, right?
So you cannot say, I'm gonna do this. You have to say like, I'm going to do this.
Yes. Yep. So you just use the correct wording.
No slang words, nothing.
No, we do not. So we do not use the slang wording in the, many people do, but
Let me
other,
give you an example. So let's say like me and Salman were working in the same plant, right?
yeah,
And then I did not like, here's the thing,
product owner.
something in higher level, whatever it is. And then I see him like, he's my friend, and I was like, yo, nigga, what's up?
Yeah,
Say that, right? I cannot say that, right?
you do not
I have
do
to say,
the
yo, what's up?
corporate. Yeah,
I can really use the you. I have to say.
even you do not do those kind of, even, how's it going? How are you? Keep everything formal, right? You do
What
not,
if I don't talk?
Mhm.
What if I don't talk?
no, you should talk, then,
I ignore everybody and I just walk away.
then you will be silo. When you're silo, then nobody will work with you and your work will not be done.
Unless I'm in the right, I have to go to the restroom. I cannot say nothing to them, and I just want to go. to the
No,
restroom.
I'm just stepping away. I gotta go watch them. That's fine.
Yeah,
So, like, give me
I
a
can
minute,
talk
I'll
no
be
matter
back.
what.
Uh-huh.
Just give me a minute, I'll be back.
Yeah,
Is it?
that's fine. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
So I can use my own what I want to put out back.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yes.
All right, it's gonna take long.
Or like,
Yeah.
if you're in a professional environment, like.
Yeah,
you're
so-
working with all these professionals.
No, nobody is afraid.
Environment.
They'll like literally understand. If you tell them, hey, give me a minute, I'll be back, and they see you're in rush, they'll literally understand that you are on something that you have
Yes.
need to be done.
Yeah, you
So
don't need
Then
to
I
be,
can ask you.
you
that
don't
same
need to be
question
too
again.
details, right? Yeah. Yeah, Fatima, did you say something? Go ahead. Kanis?
The corporate environment, like you said, when we start, we have to understand the environment.
Yes. Yep, so you always, like many people say, I'm gonna do this. You do not, you can say it, but if you want to go high in that company, do not say that.
But
I
you
am
can
going
say
to
it like
present it.
once it goes the higher level, then you can say it.
But
And
You go higher level from here.
yeah, like
so
I'm
if you
saying,
do
Yeah,
not-
you don't just jump in. to
like
let-
not right away, like wait a couple years and
Yeah.
then you go to high level, and then you can say to your colleague like, do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you can, but that's not, I mean,
A lot of people do that.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
no.
of people do it, but like,
They
you're
do
just
not-
losing your respect.
Yes. Do not follow a lot of people just do in the corporate environment, do everything the way they expect. So it helps. If you do follow the process and procedure, nobody is going to poke you. If you do work, but you do not follow the process and the procedure, everybody has some point to poke you. And those poking will not be helpful for you if you continue like a get poking by people, right? So it's again, follow process and the procedure is important. Okay, so that's the test case template we will be giving, and you guys we will be developing something. Again, every test case should have a title, right? The ID, we just given ID. So how this ID works, we'll show you details. And test case objective summary, precondition, and test steps. Literally, we ask this question: if you want to write a test case, what do you expect? This is the answer. Literally, test case ID, test case description, prerequisite, test steps, test data, expected result, actual result, and status means after you execute, status.
I was reading the last two.
Yeah, and created by and the executed by. If you create the test case, somebody can execute. Somebody has to execute. It's called the peer review. Because why? When you create the test case, it's very less amount of chance you can find the bug. Or your test case, you can read because you already did it. You're not reading the wording. In the brand new application, executing test case is very important. Because I understand the wording and they follow the process, every steps is important.
Spelling is the most important.
Yeah, of course. You do not want to go ahead.
So do we follow this same template if we update something in existing application?
Yeah.
Same process.
If they have if they have a test case template, you just follow that.
Okay.
If somebody say I do not have a standard, you can introduce this.
Regardless of new application or.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
So while we are writing the test cases, if you find a bug, we have to report to the developer.
Yeah, we'll go there. Good question. Hold this. Yeah. So now that's the way you drive the test cases, and that's actually how you it should be outcome. Makes sense? Looks good, right? It looks clean. Makes sense?
Yes.
So that has everything.
So like every company has their different template, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so it can be like exactly same on.
And they can follow the test case tools. There is 100 of test case tools, but everybody has the same goal. Make sense? Regardless of tools you use, look at this, everybody has the same tool. So read the steps very carefully, the expected and actual one. English is important there. Browser should open. That's the I'm expecting you should come. We are like telling the system you should do this.
Yeah.
And the actual is this browser is open. Keep the both English consistent. Keep the both English similar and the consistent, whatever you say. Just do not change the wording here and there. In the test case, writing, test case execution, that's you team member, you lead, know who you are. It is not super complex, but if you are lousy English, if you are not like even checking your own test case, you are just submitting for review and the wrong spelling, there is not a good format, and that's the things will not be nice for you. So follow this exactly. Here is very like a look at this. All the left alignment, look at the expected result. Browser should open. Open browser. When you double click on browser, right? Browser should open. Browser is open. Or browser opens, whatever you call it. Keep the consistency when you write the test case. Or anything you do, or whatever they do, they follow, understand their template, and keep the consistency. That's the number one. And the final is status pass. So remember, once you write the test case, if the development is not done, you just cannot say the pass or fail. So that's the you develop the test case, you develop the test data, you review your test case with the product owner or the senior engineer, you get the feedback and you fix your test cases. Finally, you are prepared to execute this test case. That's the way I ask in the interview. See? Tell me the approach, your approach, or getting a user story. How do you do as a test engineer? Same. I get assigned in the planning meeting. I understand. I do my estimation for my testing. Once this part is done, I develop the test cases based on the requirements. I prepare the test data. I review my test case with the product owner and the senior engineer. I receive the feedback and I fix my test cases. Once the development is done, right, then actually I become part of the technical review meeting to understand how this test case, how these requirements work. Once this code is deployed by the DevOps engineer, now I can start executing the testing. That's exactly what we expect. Okay, so if you follow the process, it's easy. Go ahead.
So the test engineer or the validation engineer will not be able to start writing this test data.
They can write the test cases.
They can?
They can
Okay, but they're not gonna be able to
execute.
execute it unless the DevOps engineer deploy it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
unless, yeah. Because how you can write the test cases without development?
No,
Acceptance
my question is
criteria.
they can start writing it.
Yes. So now you see this, you can say, yeah, she cannot say, oh, system is not ready, what I'm going to write. No,
But
you
they
cannot.
start writing the thing.
You can write the draft test cases, right? Because you have the requirements is in front of you. You have the user story that has the acceptance criteria. Good? Okay, it makes sense, right? It's all common sense. So read all this very carefully. Read this very carefully, then you will be able to understand what is the value. Writing test case is part of the job. Any, even if you do the Bluetooth on the vehicle, follow this. If you want to do the Wi-Fi, follow this. And this process is the same. Regardless where, if you want to test this, follow this. And nobody is going to say, oh, you denied. No, you tell what you did, how you did it. And you say, if you guys do differently, I'm open to learn and to follow your approach. That's it. Good. So make sure do the test case development. If you are vehicle validation engineer, you should be able to write test cases on the Bluetooth, on the Wi-Fi. Anything on your vehicle you see, on the volume up, volume down, connect the Bluetooth with your phone. If you are in the web, you should be able to do the test case for the registration. Make sense? At least write the test case title, and then it will come to the test case details steps. So there is a difference between the test steps versus the test case title, right? Title is on the second column.
It's the title.
Yep, the test case description is the title.
We convert wire and positive test case.
Yeah. And then test case user story, you see the references. Everything you do, there should be a requirement link on it. Requirement means the user story. Means you cannot just suddenly you work in the model year 2025. You just cannot you cannot take a vehicle, start testing it. You need to have the test cases, and that test case include with a specific module, and that module they just build and give to you. You see the link? So everything there is a link. Good. Go ahead.
Another question. So